All right. Hey, everybody seems to be enjoying this evening. And I don't know that I'll ask you for predictions because I think we've all already
I'm embarrassed enough.
Well, right? All right, but Alvin, you're our current affairs expert, and that is, I think St. Louisans are genuinely pleased at the appointment of a new police chief, although some have questioned the timing of the police board's action because an investigation of the department itself is ongoing. You know, that makes it a little dicey. However, the new chief, Major Dan Isom, is a splendid man with a great background. Comes from a police family, as I understand it. And if I'm not mistaken, he is the brother-in-law of former Chief Ron Henderson, now the United States Marshal.
Yes.
Is that correct?
I think so, yes.
Which would make him a son-in-law of a former Lieutenant Colonel Brown in the police department. I think I'm right about that because I know those gentlemen. So give me your appraisal of his appointment. You think it was a
one reason I think it's genius is because the St. Louis American did a profile on him about 8 months ago and saying what a great guy, and just because he had just got his PhD in criminology, and we were, you know, just kind of a shining example of what a police officer can be. So no, I think it's an outstanding pick, and we did write in our editorial this past week that we do wish that they would have waited until we find out exactly all that is going on with this towing scandal, because I think we've all heard that several people are going to be indicted and there's going to be some real problems. So it could have waited, but I think they did make the right choice.
And Bill, you had an inside track on this.
Well, I remember Isom when he was a lieutenant in juvenile and wrote a column about when a runaway was brought in and the lieutenant just said to her, "Can you read?" You know, because that's the only question he really cared about. I agree that he seems like a fine choice. You know, I had some friends who were up for it, more experienced, and you know, it's tough. It's always tough when you see people not get it because you have, you know, 5 or 6 contending for it.
I think you've got to give the police board some credit because they've taken a lot of justifiable criticism for the way they handled the whole thing with Mocha and the way the whole thing kind of melted down. And I can't imagine that Chief Isom is part of I think I'd like to think they vetted it well enough that he's not a serious target of the investigation.
I give the police
he sure seems like a remarkably good choice.
Hey,
he really does.
We're out of here momentarily again. Let's go back to see what Ambry's up to.
For 20 years, I have watched Donnybrook. Donnybrook has never failed to entertain me with antics, with insights and perspectives on the issues of our day.
I don't expect to convert you to my viewpoint, which is the correct one.
With conflict.
Is this a one-man show here?
With resolution.
Politics is racist. He did something that's a act of racism, but he's not a racist.
With all kinds of points of view and never failing to be funny, witty, entertaining, and engaging.
Ray Hartman. All that work.
Their feeling is really.
Martin also has this recollect.
He can keep track of what you said 3 weeks ago during a full moon, during the second topic, when you were responding to Charlie.
In summary, Ray Hartman, you said...
I always tell him he's like a great-grandfather to me.
He doesn't want a salon. He doesn't want a bunch of philosophical pinheads talking about the issues. He wants, you know, a little bit of debate there, a Donnybrook. And so I credit the program's success to him and his philosophy.
All right, if you people are going to be so offended, we'll go on to somebody else. Because it's never my intent to be offensive to you sensitive souls.
Donnybrook, a colorful cast of characters. And the best thing is, every one of them really cares about St. Louis. They're smart, sometimes sassy, and always sensational.
My name is Leah Hoffman.
And I'm Carolyn Ashley Surratt.
We're both from St. Louis, Missouri.
And we're Radio City Rockettes.
We get a kick out of Donnybrook.
Congratulations, Donnybrook, on over 20 years.
It is terrible for economic development and jobs, but more important, it's grossly unfair.
Do you think it's time for Carl Officer to step aside?
Last year on this show, I said I thought the MAC should admit women.
And so you bring in your old gun that doesn't work, you get $50 and you go out and buy a gun that does work.
Our good friend Vervis Jones, controller of the city of St. Louis, is back in the news.
The problem with Vervis is that there have been so many of these transgressions that we get to a point and say, oh, well, in the context of Vervis, that's not much.
And Keith, do you think that, meanwhile, George Peach should resign?
I could head the United Way. I could not conduct a symphony. It's like modern art. You know, if I can do it, I don't think it's art.
I think that Father Biondi has done a shameful thing. He has fired Rich Grauer.
I think the residency law is counterproductive.
What makes you think Clarence Harmon is going to have an apolitical staff?
I tend to feel that teachers really should not be unionized.
And for the aldermen, of all people, to be sitting there like appalled at the notion that somebody would use their public office to help someone who's a friend or a contributor is rather a bizarre thing in and of itself.
I don't think the utility bill really flies. You know, this is where I live, therefore I'm the voter.
We sat here, we heard the Pope was coming, and it was going to be in January, the freezing cold, and the snow, and the whole idea was, you know, why would he come in the middle of the winter when the Pink Sisters started praying for good weather?
You'd be for vouchers just for poor kids and just for African Americans?
No, I'm for university.
To drive the smokers into the sea and into the oncoming lanes of traffic, I just think that's a bit much.
They have a civilian review board for Donnybrook, for heaven's sake. We got other things to talk about. All right. Hey, before we get any farther along here, let's hear it for Channel 9 itself.
Yeah.
Jack Galmick. We're so proud to be working for Jack Galmick, our president and CEO, and Channel 9 has won the Emmy for General Excellence in this Mid-America. And we are rated the #1 in viewership station on the entire public broadcast system. So how about that? All right. Well, let's do a few predictions, Dan. You've had a lot of laughs in the past. Well, anyway, you break me up. So give me.
Is it serious now? Are we talking seriously here?
Well, I'm afraid that you've conceded the election to Barack Obama.
Oh,
is that
yeah,
correct?
yeah. And you're going to play it back 5 years from now and make fun of me? No, I don't think that.
I mean, I guess I really should have sidestepped that whole issue.
I don't think there's a chance it'll go the other way around.
Well, what do you think about some of the propositions facing us on the ballot? You know, people generally tend to pay scant attention to those.
Well, listen, when you've got
sales tax increase for Metrolink. What do you think?
When you've got an economy like ours, I don't think anybody's going to vote yes on anything, are they? And that's too bad, because I think certainly the children's bill needs it, the old people need it, the Metrolink needs it. Come on now.
And I agree. I think that, I said a couple of weeks ago, I guess I was pretty ambivalent about because like a lot of people, I've had some real issues with how Metrolink has been managed, or Metro has been managed over recent years under Larry Salsi. Really thinking about it, I think people should vote. And I'm not making a prediction that people will vote for it.
Well, right
because
now, when
they've
we're
got
talking green.
Right, it's really a hard time to be talking about it. But you just hit it on the head. Politicians of both parties are talking about us doing something about our dependence on foreign oil.
Right.
And anybody that doesn't see that for all whatever imperfections, and the other thing I didn't realize is we haven't done a sales tax increase for Metrolink for like 11 years. So it isn't like they're coming back every year and asking for more money.
I think Ann's right, though. In this economy, trying to get anybody to increase their taxes,
it may be hard, but I think we should do it, is what I'm saying.
Times are tough, and it's rugged economic times, and Missouri will respond by eliminating the lost leader at the casino, so we can go in there and lose even more money. That will pass. I will predict that.
They'll pass out cyanide tablets at the boats too. But no, I really think that Metrolink, you have to finish it, because eventually this will turn around. The economy will turn around.
Guys,
but how about bringing it wrong? How about bringing it somewhere where some people want to use it?
We're talking about extending Metrolink, but nobody has said where it's going to extend to. Right. But you'll raise your taxes anyway, even though you don't know where it's going. And at the same time, you got the same board on Metrolink who refused to settle with the lawyers. They lost $30 million taxpayer dollars. They were $126 million over on the extension. And by the way, the taxes we passed 11 years ago, they've been given to Stan Kroenke and Pace and developers. They were diverted away from light rail.
Those would be wonderful arguments if Larry Salcy, who really ran the thing into the ground, was still here.
It's the same board,
They got rid of them, okay? And
the board is still there, and Bob Baer retires in December.
I understand that he does, and he's actually done, I think, a good thing for St. Louis.
He's a great guy.
He has, and I think
you
that
persuaded me, Charlie.
Yeah.
I'm voting no.
Whatever.
I mean, Charles, it's tough to vote yes when you don't know who's going to run the thing.
Yeah, but you're not voting for the person. You're voting for the fact, the system, and they're going to cut. They're going to have. The reality is, you can make a little protest vote against a guy that's already been gone.
It's not
but
against
the fact
Larry.
is, well, I mean, if you're complaining about the past management, all the stuff you mentioned happened on his watch.
Now about
my
the future,
point is,
where's it going to extend to, Ray? Westport or Florissant?
What I'm concerned about is if we don't vote for it, from what everything we could see is it's going to be dramatically cut back, and I can't imagine, unless you're part of this sort of culture that says we need sacrifice, but not by me, and our voters. And interesting, one of the things is no one seems to want to talk about helping the poor people. The Post-Dispatch even
Ray, last week or 2 weeks ago, you were against it.
I was not against it.
You said you weren't voting for it because it was late coming to the ball game when you were there.
Let me get us back on this full circle thing.
Not say I wasn't.
I think I'll enjoy that.
Sure.
Before
I was for it. You were against it.
I was not
Before Donnybrook went on the air in January of 1987, I was telling a friend, a professor type, that we had plans for this show. He said, "Oh, what will you talk about?" And well, that was an interesting question. And I said, "Well, I think we'll talk about light rail, which was called then." And he said, "We're going to have something besides that." And I said, "Well, we'll think of something." But isn't it funny that we're talking about light rail as it has evolved or dissolved into Metrolink on this very show? Well, thank you all very much. And I want to tell you this, that as part of this celebration, right? Am I not? We're retiring a long-time prop from the set of Donnybrook, our little ducky back here on the fireplace. See that? Isn't he, dear?
What did he do?
It's the Donnie Duck decoy that has long watched over our discussions from the fireplace mantle. And for more information on how to bid, this is going to be put up for bid in an auction. You can visit KETC.org, and all proceeds from it will benefit local productions on Channel 9. Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed your evening. We certainly have enjoyed having you with us. For now, for all of us on Donnybrook, I'm Martin Duggan. Good night.
I thought you were against